Anatahan Island, located about 177 kilometers north of Saipan, as a small island in the Northern Mariana Islands in the Pacific Ocean. During World War II, there are 32 Japanese men and 1 Japanese woman stuck on the island for 6 years. During this period, men killed each other for the only woman on the island. This incident was exposed to the media after the US Army rescued them. And it caused a sensation throughout Japan at that time. So what happened on the island back then? Now we will travel back to 1939. Let's understand the whole picture of this incident together. Encouraged by Japan's domestic policy in 1939, many Japanese nationals have immigrated to the islands occupied by Japan to work and live. Higa Kazuko, who is only 16 years old, is also one of them. She traveled long distances, came to Saipan from Okinawa, Japan. It didn't take long for her to find a job as a waiter in a coffee shop. The young and beautiful Kazuko is loved by many young men. Soon, she fall in love with one of the lucky man, Masaichi Higa. They married after and lived together. Japan's land area is too small, so the Japanese nation established Nanyang Hing Fatco, Limited. Started to immigrate and cultivate on many Pacific islands. Masaichi Kazuko's husband is an employee of Nanyang Hing Fatco, Limited. His main job is to supervise the work of some laborers on the island. At this time, Kazuko's married life is very happy. In 1944, Kazuko's husband was transferred to Anatahan Island, so she followed her husband to the island. The boss of Masaichi, Masami Nishikuta, also went to this island with them. Not long after they came to Anatahan Island, the Second World War has come to an end. Japan suffered a terrible defeat on the battlefield in the Pacific Ocean. Many islands originally occupied by Japan are gradually being occupied by the US military. At that time, Masaichi was very worried about her sister's safety. So he left Anatahan Island to visit his sister. At this time there are only a few indigenous inhabitants left on the island. The only Japanese are Kazuko and Masaichi's boss, Masami Nishikuta. In such a difficult environment, the two have been in love for a long time and soon lived together. Live a life like a husband and wife. June 12, 1944. 4 Bonito fishing boats were attacked and sunk by US troops near Anatahan Island. Many crew members died at that time. Fortunately, this ship is not far from Anatahan Island. Those who survived swam desperately towards the island. In the end, 31 survivors successfully swam to the island. They are all young men, the youngest is only 16 years old. These people have no way to leave without a boat and forced to survive on this isolated island. Fortunately, there are some wild bananas and coconuts on the island to eat. At the very beginning, these 31 people thought it was just an isolated island. There are no residents here. Until one day when they were picking wild fruits. Then they met Kazuko and Masami, who were also picking fruits. Kazuko and Masami on the island were very happy to see so many Japanese people and became friends with them. Kazuko and Masami enthusiastically helped them. Not only shared their own food, but also healed them. At the very beginning, the 31 surviving people were divided into small groups, live in different places, but after getting familiar with it, everyone gathered together to live. Including Kazuko and Masami. This group of people is self-sufficient on the island. In addition to eating wild fruits, they occasionally fish. As for the clothes they wear, if the clothes they wear are tattered, they will make their own clothes out of tree bark and live a primitive life. In this way, the 33 people on the island lived peacefully for more than a year. Until August 15, 1945. Japan was completely defeated and announced its surrender. But these people on the island don't know. Later, the US military spread the news to people on the island. But they don't believe. They think it's a conspiracy by the US military to refuse to leave the island. But the Aborigines on the island have left one after another. In the end, there are only 33 Japanese living in isolation on this island. As the saying goes, when one is fed and warmed, one's sexual desires will come up. After all, they are all lads. On this island of extremely unbalanced male to female ratio, let most men have some fantasies about Kazuko. So some of them started to suggest. Kazuko and Masami held a wedding in front of everyone. The purpose is to let everyone know that Kazuko already has a husband. Let others give up their fantasy. After the wedding, the two left the crowd to live independently. Life on the island returned to peace. However, it didn't take long for the peaceful life to be broken again by the appearance of 2 pistols. August 1946. The wreckage of a US military plane that fell on the island was found. There are a lot of living supplies and 4 broken pistols and 90 rounds of ammunition. There are people on the island who have worked as soldiers and are quite familiar with guns. 2 of the last 4 broken guns were repaired. Now the peaceful life on the island was broken. On this isolated island far from the crowd, whoever has a gun in his hand is the king. The gun is a symbol of power. If you have power, you can give orders. The appearance of these 2 guns completely changed the fate of 33 people on the island. Let's call them A and B for the 2 people who repaired the gun first. They got the guns one by one and immediately became the ruler of this group of people. As a ruler, you naturally want to take good things in your own hands. What they want most on the island? It's undoubtedly Kazuko. Within 2 days, a man was said to be accidentally killed by something falling from a bread tree. But there were only 2 witnesses, A and B, with guns. And it happens that the 2 of them have a bad relationship with C. Suspicions surged in the hearts of others. Could C have been shot? At the same time, everyone began to feel scared. The competition surrounding Kazuko quickly unfolded, and A told her, "Be my woman, otherwise I will shoot your husband." And Masami also said to Kazuko, "I don't want to be killed, you can become his lover." A weird scene suddenly appeared. Kazuko had 3 husbands, Masami and 2 men with guns, A and B, and a total of 4 people lived together. In the autumn of 1947, the peace was broken again. The 2 men with guns had infighting, and A was killed. The gun was in the hands of B alone. With a gun, you can possess Kazuo, which has become a simple rule for men. However, 3 months later, B was also assassinated. Since then, the owner of the pistol has been assassinated and replaced. After everyone sat down for a meeting, the result of the discussion is, 2 guns are the culprit. Stop this panic and fear of death. They made a plan. Throw 2 guns into the sea. The weapons that represent rights like this are gone. This does sound like a pretty good plan. Everyone agreed and did it. But it didn't actually solve the real problem. In the days to come, there are still 4 strange deaths and disappearances on the island. Everyone doesn't understand that they have already thrown the gun into the sea. Why are people still dying? Everyone on the island at this time is in danger. Just 5 years. 32 men, now only 19 left. To stop this situation, everyone had to sit down for a meeting again. After chatting again, they think it was human desire that caused the killing. The gun that represents rights is gone. Then this situation can only be caused by the desire for women. In the end, they made a bold decision: kill Kazuko. Only in this way can everyone's pursuit of desire be dispelled. Life on the island can be peaceful, but there is a man who loves Kazuko deeply. I disclosed the news to Kazuko in advance. So she fled to the deep forest overnight. On the 33rd day of Kazuko's escape, she was pleasantly surprised to find an American warship parked on the beach. Kazuko immediately climbed up a big tree and screamed for help. Kazuko's move successfully attracted the attention of the US military and was rescued. Kazuko later returned to Japan, informed their family that there were still people on the island. The families of those who refused to leave the island began to write letters. Wrote in the letter that the war is over. After that, more than 200 letters of family letters were airdropped to the island. But these stubborn people insist that this is a trap set by the US military. Just refuse to leave the island. June 26, 1951. There is a man on the island who firmly believes that the letter he received was specially handcrafted by his wife. So he believed what the US military said was true. Eventually he convinced others. Until this time, the people on the island finally accepted the reality of failure. Surrendered to the US Army and rescued from the island. These people were first sent to the US military base in Guam. And then returned to Japan. Due to missing for many years, everyone thinks they have sacrificed on the battlefield. So when they return home, many of these wives have remarried. Kazuko's original husband Higa Masaichi also remarried. When the media asked about the whereabouts of the 13 men, they did not return. Someone was under tremendous pressure to tell the truth. The media reported on the various killings of many men on the island due to a fight for a woman. Kazuko suddenly became the focus of everyone's topic. Although some media have expressed sympathy for Kazuko, but most media still belittle and condemn Kazuko. Later, Kazuko was invited to star in the stage play, Anatahan Island, and toured the country for 2 years since 1952. The story was even adapted into the movie, This is the Truth About Anatahan Island. The true story of Higa Kazuko is partially restored in the film. Kazuko also personally starred in the role. After a few years, to make a living, Kazuko once worked as a dancer in Tokyo to earn a living. Later, at the age of 34, Kazuko remarried. She opened a small shop with her husband and led a plain life. But the happy days are not long. Husband died when Kazuko was in his 40s. A few years later, Kazuko died of a brain tumor in March 1974 at about 50 years old. Anatahan Island incident. Although it only happened on an island, but it also reflects the common problems in human society. When human morality loses the restraint of rules, then the law of primeval forest will be activated. Some people say that the appearance of 2 guns and the only woman is the cause of this tragedy. Actually not. The real reason is human desire. The appearance of the only woman on the island and the gun is just the catalyst. Speed up the killing between people. Someone may ask, on the island for so many years, why Kazuko is not pregnant? About this issue, after reading a lot of related reports, did not get a reasonable explanation. I think she probably miscarried after an unexpected pregnancy, which leads to infertility. But what is certain is that this case happened in real. Alright, the story is over. Thanks for watching.